substantive full-time executive director who is supported by a team of 14 staff. The Secretariat has its own offices at the Mayfair Center in Upper Hill, and this has made it possible for the 9 working committees of the NCJ and the 236 court user committees to receive better support, enhancing effective interagency collaboration in the administration of justice at the grassroots. Ladies and gentlemen, the growth of NCJ has been supported by the Judicial Service Commission, various NCJ member agencies, as well as development partners, some of whom I see here today. They've continued to hold our hands by offering technical and financial resources to support our vision of a well-coordinated justice sector for Kenya. For this, we are truly grateful. The report we launched today showcases the results of this support and collaboration. It demonstrates our accountability to Kenyans and all stakeholders for the manner in which the Council has discharged its mandate and exercised stewardship over the resources that were availed from our collective taxes, the support from development partners. It will also form the baseline for measuring year-on-year progress in the administration of justice and the basis for robust discussions on how we can all work together to improve the administration of justice through interagency collaboration and coordination. This is the reason I'm happy this morning to see most, if not all, the representatives of the NCJ member agencies, as well as development partners in their numbers. And this is for us testament to your continued commitment to our cause. As evidenced by the achievements recorded in the report, the NCJ has tremendous potential to transform the administration of justice, but they've been held back by severe resource constraints and a weak statutory framework. In this regard, I'm glad to report that there is ongoing work to develop a legal framework that will empower the Council to discharge its mandate. I hasten to add that the NCJ has largely relied on the judiciary for its financial resources. And I hope that the separate reporting framework that starts today will also propel us to a separate funding framework. And this will serve the dual purpose of easing the judiciary the financial burden while enhancing operations of the NCJ in fulfilling its mandate as a premier justice sector policy-making body. Your Excellency, as Secretary to the Council, I'm extremely proud of the achievements detailed in our report, which have been registered under the leadership of our able Council Chair, the Chief Justice, the Vice Chair, Mr. Nordin Haji, and Council member agencies. Although I'm the titular head of the Secretariat, the heavy lifting has been done by the Secretariat team led by Dr. Maranga, and I must therefore credit all of them for the work they've put in to produce these results. The task on their shoulder is huge, and it is highly commendable that this small team has facilitated the Council to register such impressive results. Your Excellency, allow me to just ask the NCJ Secretariat members to stand up so that we can acknowledge them. NCJ Secretariat, right there. Thank you. Well done. We are very proud of you. Further credit goes to the chairs and members of the NCJ working committees and court users committees across the country, whose members have continued to work closely with each other to ensure efficiency. Again, Your Excellency, may I just ask the chairs and members of the NCJ working committees to rise so that we can acknowledge you. Thank you. Thank you very much for all the work that you have done. And as I conclude, I remain hopeful that we can count on all of us to continue this partnership with the same commitment during the coming years, so that there is a lot more to celebrate when the second annual report is presented, hopefully next year. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all once again for gracing this occasion. Asanteni sana na karibuni sana. May I now move to the next phase? So I'll ask a few individuals to come forward and make some remarks. I want to invite the first speaker, Her Excellency Olthong, the Ambassador of the Kingdom of Denmark. Your Excellency, Ambassador, please come forward. We appreciate the support that we continue to receive through the IDLO, and this has benefited the NCG a great deal. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much for that. Your Excellency, President William Ruto, Honorable CJ Martha Koome, all protocols observed. An independent and strong judicial system is key to a well-functioning democracy. That goes for all over the world, and I think it's very fair to say that that also goes for Kenya. For me, the last couple of elections has been a testimony to this fact. And I want to commend the justice system of Kenya for exactly that. But equally important, justice is a human right for all citizens all over the world and for all citizens of Kenya. And this is well enshrined in the Constitution of Kenya. Furthermore, a well-functioning judicial system is key for the private sector of Kenya. They base their decisions, their business strategies on can they trust the legal system of Kenya. And this is both for Kenyan companies, but it's also for international companies and investors. Therefore, a well-functioning judicial system is really, really crucial for any society. I believe that today's report documents the value of NCAJ, because the fact is that the justice system is not stronger than the weakest link of it. If the police doesn't collect the evidence, if the prosecutors doesn't put together the cases, the courts can't function and perform their role. For me, if you go down to what is then needed on the ground, for me, the court user committees is a perfect example of how to make sure that this actually happens in practice. And I want to congratulate the judicial system of Kenya for launching the court user committees for the environment and land courts recently, but also, since we are in the 16 days of activism, congratulate the judicial system for launching the court user committee for the specialized gender-based violence court in Mombasa recently, where I believe you, CJ, also personally participated in that. For me, the court user committees are the essence of NCAJ. They need and they ensure that all the relevant actors work together and that the wheels are turning the right way so that we have a smooth legal system. Because if not, and we have seen examples of that, it takes too long time for people to go through the legal system. On this Friday, we had a seminar at the embassy where a lot of testimonies was that it took 3 to 5 years for survivors of gender-based violence to go through the legal system. And as we all know, delayed justice is justice denied. And furthermore, what often happens is that many of these survivors, they don't even have the energy to go through the legal process because it's too tedious, it's too long, it's too bureaucratic. And again, the court user committees is a very important instrument to make sure that this actually reduces time and bureaucracy around the legal system. And there, NCAJ has a very, very crucial part. And I want to congratulate them and all the people who have worked around NCAJ for the first report. And I want to use this opportunity to pledge our continued support from Denmark to this special system and where we share so many values. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Our next speaker is Her Excellency Henriette Geiger, Ambassador of the European Union to Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, the European Union, through what we call the PLEAD program, has been very instrumental in supporting the NCAJ reform agenda. And so, Ambassador, as you step forward to speak, we are looking forward to the launch of PLEAD 2. Welcome.
Good morning. Dear Mr. President, dear Madam Chief Justice, dear NCAJ leadership, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. Allow me to make a few remarks on behalf of the European Union. It is very, very important to work together on the fundamental values that we share and that are enshrined in your Constitution. Based on this, in 2016, we conceived the PLEAD program, the program for legal empowerment and access to justice. And looking back on the past few years, we can be very proud of the progress achieved in the justice sector. We jointly collaborated to bring support to individual agencies in this justice chain, but we also built a strong partnership to work with the National Council on Alternative Justice, NCAJ. And as we are wrapping up this first phase of the justice sector reform program, we are about to launch in a few months the next 5-year program. It is evident that through determined action, we have ensured that justice reform is not just proclaimed at high-level events such as the one that we have here today, but it needs to be felt in detention facilities, in police stations, in courts, prisons, by defense lawyers, investigators, prosecutors, by families, communities, and businesses all over the country. In our new program, we commit to support the vision of NCAJ to take this delivery of justice deeper and further in Kenya, particularly for those facing situations of vulnerability and for those who struggle to make ends meet on a daily basis. We will focus on activities to advance digitalization, roll out the alternative justice strategy, address the large number of petty offenses, and hope to roll out the proposal of Your Excellency, Mr. President, to launch a new system for instant traffic fines. This will really help the ordinary citizens to see that justice delivers in Kenya. To support the direct work of court user committees on the ground, we will expand our program from 12 to 19 counties and will extend our work to new institutions, including the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission and the Department of Children's Services, to ensure that child rights are better protected in Kenya and that the fight against corruption and for transparency and accountability is prioritized. I would like to express my special thanks to Chief Justice Koome for her strong leadership, Her personal dedication, commitment and professionalism in driving justice sector reforms forward and avail common Kenyans access to justice in a faster, more predictable and transparent manner. I would also like to thank the entire NCAJ leadership and staff across all justice institutions in Kenya for their collaboration with the European Union, for their hard work to guide and implement the bills of rights contained in the Kenyan Constitution, and to build the institutions and a country that makes Kenyans proud. We note the problem-solving and collaborative attitude in court user committees across Kenya, the openness to civil society and other non-state actors. This is fundamental in a maturing democracy. I sincerely congratulate you all on the good results you present today. Let us keep up the pace. The plans for 22-23 are very ambitious and extremely relevant, and the EU and others are standing at your side. Lastly, let me finish by sharing that it is the work of duty bearers and rights holders which allows Kenyans to leave court stations and support to ensure that the letter of Kenya's constitution and laws can be enjoyed by everyone in this country. Thank you very much. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. We continue to appreciate your support. May I take this opportunity to recognize the presence of CS Health, Madam Susan Nahumicha. Thank you for joining us. May I also take this opportunity to recognize the presence of Harriet Chigai, Advisor Women's Rights. Thank you for being with us here today. I want to also recognize the presence of Mary Modoni, PS Correctional Services, representing the CS Interior. Thank you so much for being here. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is, should have been the IG. I don't see him here, and therefore I will invite the Director of Public Prosecution, Mr. Nordin Haji, to come forward and address us.
Your Excellency, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defence Forces, Honorable Dr. William Ruto, the Honorable Chief Justice and the President of the Supreme Court, Lady Justice Martha Koome, the Honorable Deputy Chief Justice, Madam Mesauji. Atamkubalisao majina. Honorable Attorney General J.B. Muturi, Honorable Judges of the Supreme Court of Kenya, the Honorable Judges and the Magistrates, His Excellency, the Ambassador of the European Union of Kenya, Henriette Geiger, His Excellency, Ambassador of the Royal Danish Embassy, Ole Thonke, Her Excellency, the Ambassador of the United States Government, representatives of government agencies in the justice sector, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Your Excellency, apart from the CRJ, I think I'm the oldest member of the NCAJ, and it is our sincere pleasure to be part of this launch of the inaugural report of the National Council on the Administration of Justice. Your Excellency, on behalf of the NCAJ, I would like to express our deep gratitude for gracing this momentous occasion, which brings together various institutions in the justice sector under the common vision of enhancing access to justice and promoting the rule of law. Your presence here, Your Excellency, is truly a testament of your administration's commitment to safeguarding the rule of law whilst fostering a government that is cognizant of the independence and interdependence of institutions geared towards enhancing access to justice. Your Excellency, a lot of accusations have been made against the justice sector for decisions that we have made independently as officers charged with the various mandates to take charge and dispense justice. I'm sure this meeting we will be accused of sitting down and meeting with the executive. However, from the very beginning when the Chief Justice took over as the Chief Justice and the Chair of the NCAJ, she was very clear that as much as we are independent institutions, we are interdependent of each other, and we must work with each other. And this is how governments are supposed to be run. Your Excellency, allow me to extend our gratitude to the European Union and the UNODC, and especially to Her Excellency Ambassador Geiger and one lady called Charity Kagwe from the UNODC for their contribution towards enhancing access to justice to the citizens. Your Excellency, the PLEAD program is a unique program that has allowed us as actors within the justice system to choose our agendas. This PLEAD program has allowed us to be able to carry our various mandates as we should. A lot of other programs have other agendas that come with it. The PLEAD program has allowed the justice sector to choose their own programs and be able to discharge their mandate as is expected within the Constitution. Your Excellency, in 2020, we resolved to leverage on opportunities and initiatives such as the use of technology to drive reform within the justice system. In this regard, we integrated the judiciary e-filing system and the ODPP, Uadilifu case management system. This has enhanced efficiency in the management of criminal trials and with a positive effect on our development of data-driven policies. As I conclude, Your Excellency, allow me to mention that the NCAJ is currently established under the Judicial Service Act 2011. Accordingly, we are in the process of drafting the National Council on the Administration of Justice Bill 2022 to provide a robust legislative framework on the functions, powers, independence, and interdependence of the NCAJ. And my position as the Vice Chair of the NCAJ is testament to it, Your Excellency. It is not captured under the current bill and under the current act, but it was the wise vision of the Chief Justice that she established this office to allow for all actors within the NCAJ to feel inclusive and own the process within the NCAJ. We hope that the bill will therefore define the responsibility of each institution, ensuring a cohesive NCAJ, an independent NCAJ, and an interdependent criminal justice and justice system within it. Your Excellency, I want to thank the CRJ and the Secretariat for the good job that they have done to ensure that the NCAJ works, and we hope this will continue. This commitment to see a country built on the foundation of the rule of law and a justice system that works is the vision that has brought us here today. And it is the mission that binds us together. So thank you, Your Excellency, and all partners in the NCAJ for your commitments to that vision and your contribution to this mission. God bless Kenya, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, DPP. We continue to appreciate your continuous support. May I also take this opportunity to just recognize chairs of various independent commissions. We have Honorable Florence Kajuju of the Commission on Administrative Justice. We have Lynn Mengich from the Salaries and Remuneration Commission. Thank you for joining us. We have Rosalie Odede from the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. Karibu sana. We have Honorable Fula Chebukati, IEBC Chair. Welcome. We have the Vice Chair, Public Service Commission, Charity Kisotu. Thank you for being here. We also have Christina Gimba, Chair, Kenya Law Reform Commission. May I now take this opportunity to ask the Honorable the Attorney General to come forward and address us. Honorable AG, please.
Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Dr. William Ruto, my Lady the Chief Justice, and the President of the Supreme Court, the Deputy Chief Justice, judges of the Supreme Court, all other judges, Excellencies, the ambassadors here present, cabinet secretaries, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Your Excellency, when I look at the judiciary of today and compare it with the judiciary where I left 25 years ago, I can truly say that there's been transformation and progress. Courtesy of the 2010 Constitution, Your Excellency, we have clear provisions on access to justice, and as a consequence, the development of the process of the National Council on Administration of Justice, whose core function is to coordinate or to ensure coordination of efficient, effective, efficient, and justice system in the country. Indeed, Your Excellency, I need not repeat the very critical role that is being played by the recently launched Court Users Association as a result of the 2010 Constitution. Your Excellency, the judiciary that I served in 25 years ago was one where access to justice was left to everybody's maker. It is true that adages like justice delayed is justice denied have always existed. But in the 2010 Constitution, there is a clear requirement for a robust justice system, both in the criminal and the civil justice sector. It's therefore gratifying to note that the National Council on Administration of Justice has for the first time prepared a report on the activities that they have undertaken in the year 2021-2022, on the basis of which other actors in the justice sector will have an opportunity to hold the National Council on Administration of Justice accountable, just as is required of all of us, Your Excellency. Therefore, it's not indeed something that is outlandish for the chair and the members of the National Council on Administration of Justice to require or request, as the DPP has said, that we in the executive, and particularly the Office of the Attorney General and State Law Office, facilitates the enactment of the National Council on Administration of Justice Bill. I'm aware that even though I just took office recently, the bill has progressed quite far, and I would be requesting the other players in the National Council on Administration of Justice to give us the latest ideas that there may be towards effectuating the realization of that bill. I'm sure, Your Excellency, Kenyans will recall that on accession to office, you did make a public pronouncement that this shall be a country that is governed on the basis of the rule of law and not the rule of man. Your presence here today, Your Excellency, is testament to your commitment to that public pronouncement on your very first day. And therefore, just to allay the fears expressed by the DPP, your presence here is not in any way to dictate to the justice sector how to do their work, but to collaborate and support the sector in the various endeavors that they are involved in. And indeed, Your Excellency, we commend the many strides that the judiciary has made. Just recently, when the judiciary launched the State of the Judiciary and the Ministry of Justice, the SOJA report, we did witness for ourselves the many strides, notwithstanding the complaint from the Supreme Court that they are working in a museum. But Your Excellency's commitment is towards improving the work environment of everybody in the judiciary and indeed in the entire public service sector. In those few remarks, Your Excellency, allow me to congratulate the players and all the actors in the National Council on Administration of Justice and wish them fruitful deliberations as we launch this annual report. I thank you.
Thank you so much, the Attorney General, and thank you so much for your candid words and encouragement words. Your Excellency, with your permission, I'll request now we focus on the screens for a brief video session. Welcome, sir.
In 2021, the National Police Service processed over 500,000 criminal cases with 81,272 being serious crimes. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecution processed 477,572 matters, and Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission processed 4,997 matters. Further, 231,400 inquiry reports. At the end of the period under review, the prison population stood at 54,795. To entrench reforms in civil justice, NCAJ launched the Commercial Justice and Environment and Land Justice Court Users Committees. At the end of the period under review, there were 236 cases, representing a 26% increase compared to the previous financial year. The NCAJ staff requirement was analyzed and submitted to JSC for deliberation and consideration. The funding requirement for select core NCAJ agencies was 253 billion shillings, with the approved budget being 166 billion shillings. This resulted in a funding gap of 87 billion shillings. The Council promptly resolved some of the interagency conflicts that emerged. Against this backdrop, NCAJ has lined up priority programs to enhance the coordination of the administration of justice in financial year 2022-23. NCAJ, our commitment towards a unified justice sector that serves the people in Kenya.
Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. That was just a snapshot of what we're doing at the NCJ. It's now my humble duty to ask the Chair of NCJ, Chief Justice Martha Koome, President of the Supreme Court of Kenya, and as she comes forward, may I just take this opportunity also to acknowledge the presence of the President of the Law Society of Kenya, Eric Theory. Thank you so much for being here. Honorable Chief Justice, please.
Thank you very much, our Chief Registrar of the Judiciary, Your Excellency, Honorable Dr. William Samoei Ruto, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defense Forces. I recognize our Attorney General, our DCJ, and all the judges present, the Director of Public Prosecutions, the Cabinet Secretaries and PSs, in the meeting. I recognize the NCAJ Council who have driven this process, our development partners, Your Excellencies, and submissions and diplomatic corps present, the President of the Law Society, and very, very distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning. On behalf of the NCAJ, I take this opportunity to thank Your Excellency for accepting our invitation to grace this occasion of the launch of the first Administration of Justice Annual Report period covering 2021-2022, which we have presented pursuant to provisions of Section 37 of the Judicial Service Act 2011. As justice sector institutions, we value this support and collaboration. Like every speaker has emphasized, Your Excellency, none of us would succeed unless we worked together. And just to allay the fears about our independence, which we guard most jealously, we confirm in all our meetings we never discuss the merit of any matter. We only discuss the administration of justice. Are we delivering justice to our people? That is the question we ask ourselves all the time. I welcome all ends of NCAJ agencies, ends of other arms of government, our development partners, CSOs, and indeed all of you to this launch. Your Excellency, I also wish to offer apologies from the IG. Your government is very busy and very hands-on. On its way to this meeting, he was called because of a serious security breach, and I think he changed tacts because he had to answer to you why those security lapses are happening, so he abandoned this meeting. Apologies from Your IG, Your Excellency. The report we are launching, as we have seen from the small snapshot, presents an account of the programs and activities of the NCAJ and all the other agencies. This report identifies the challenges that we have encountered as agencies delivering justice to our people, especially the poor, the marginalized, and children and women. And I'm happy to welcome the new advisor to your office on women and women's rights. We will never let her go because the issues of women and their women's rights are many. We were recently launching the Specialized Court User Committee on sexual gender-based violence. So our tray will be full, and she'll be a member of the NCAJ because we have a specialized committee that is dealing with those issues of SGBB. The report also recognizes the opportunities and makes recommendations for ensuring access to justice for all the people of Kenya. In implementing our programs at the NCAJ, we are guided by the strategic plan that we have been following, which has its underpinnings in Kenya's Development Blueprint Vision 2030 and our international obligations under the Sustainable Development Goals. And of course, we have looked at Your Excellency's policy on the bottom up, and this is what we are calling access to justice for the marginalized, the poor, and the underprivileged. The success achieved in the period is attributable to the collaborative and consultative approach adopted by actors within the justice sector, which has contributed to the more efficient and effective delivery of justice. This, Your Excellency, being our inaugural report, we have tried to retell our story of the rationale and the genesis of the NCAJ and how it emerged from the appreciation at the local court level that stakeholder engagement and participation were key to addressing and responding to challenges in the delivery of justice. In the Constitution, the participation of people is central, and the justice that we are supposed to deliver is supposed to be people-centered. We are supposed to ask people, are we serving you? Are we delivering justice? This organic growth has been entrenched in statute following the recommendation of the task force on the judicial reforms that was made in 2010. Since its inception in 2011, the NCAJ has provided a platform for all the actors in the justice sector to design responses to the challenges within the justice sector. This has seen a proliferation of policies, guidelines, manuals developed by the various sectors. In addition, under the umbrella of the NCAJ actors, we formulated a response to the COVID-19 global pandemic that ensured the wheels of justice continued to turn in the wake of this debilitating, and we devised containment measures that were adopted to stop the spread of the virus in the country. During the reporting period, the NCAJ launched and we are implementing our strategic plan, whose vision is a coordinated and cohesive justice sector serving all the people of Kenya. I thank the Council for remaining completely focused on ensuring that we strengthen our governance structures at all levels. In line with our commitment to shared leadership, the Council resolved to have the position of the Vice Chairperson, and we elected unanimously Mr. Nudin Aji to that position, and he has hit the ground running and carried a lot of activities in his position as the Vice Chair. That is what we call shared leadership and shared responsibility. We have also created subcommittees at the Council level and formalized departments at the Secretariat. It was during this reporting period that the Judicial Service Commission recruited Dr. Maraga as the Executive Director of the NCAJ Secretariat. The NCAJ Council remains focused on deepening criminal justice reforms. In May 2022, as you have seen, Your Excellency, on the small clip, we successfully convened the second National Conference on Criminal Justice Reforms, dubbed Towards a Right-Based Criminal Justice Sector. One of the biggest challenges we have in our justice sector today is implementing criminal law that was enacted during the colonial period. Therefore, during this conference, participants delved on topics such as leveraging technology to enhance access to justice, ensuring that we safeguard human rights in the administration of justice, that we enhance access to justice for the vulnerable groups, and tackling corruption in the justice sector and in our country at large. I will therefore encourage all of us to read the report and the details on its recommendations. Your Excellency, data collected on the number of files processed by the different actors in the criminal justice chain make a strong case for the recommendations we are making for alternatives to prosecution and alternatives to custodial sentences. During this period, the NCAJ Council also focused on civil justice reforms, and we felt we needed to launch a specialized court user committee for commercial courts, environment and land courts, and recently SGBB. At the Council, we established a working committee on civil justice reforms and a Department for Civil Justice Reforms at the Secretariat level. Owing to the concerted efforts of the agencies, the period witnessed an increase in the number of matters resolved through NDR. We have also been asked as the judiciary by the Council to expedite the commercial justice cases that are pending at the commercial division, and we have agreed as the judiciary to set time assigned in the month of February to do an RRI, or a Rapid Results Initiative, on tax matters. At the heart of the NCAJ lies the court user committees, which is the novel approach increasingly recognized at the regional and international level as a best practice in the administration of justice. I've been called to share our experience